Hello, and welcome to Red City Blues, the channel where we talk about whatever I feel like talking about that day. So today we're gonna do something special. We're gonna scroll through my Reddit feed, and we're gonna answer questions about paganism and polytheism and heathenry and Norse paganism, or like whatever you want to call it, right? So personally, I don't really identify as any of these things. I would say I'm a devotional polytheist, and I'm working on a whole video explaining exactly what that means. But point being, I've been in this community for a long time. I feel like there are a lot of misconceptions and like a lot of different ideas floating around all the time. So I thought it would be cool to kind of go through my feed, take some of these questions that are being asked and talk about them. I feel like there were a couple of good ones that came up, so let's just dive right in. Here's one from our Norse paganism, and it says, I feel so guilty. I was a Christian and I'm torn between it and Norse paganism. I don't know what to believe, but I could never call myself an atheist. I don't have any religious trauma and I don't have any resentment towards Christians. I see so many posts about pagans just being edgy teenagers, but I genuinely believe in gods. I feel like I'm being tossed back and forth, and here it is. I'm scared of being associated with white supremacists who pretend to be pagan. I offered some empty water bottle to Odin by just leaving it out and saying, Odin, if you're real, please let this bottle be empty when I wake up tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way. And ever since I had this chest pain, okay, I just wish I was more confident about all of this. All right. So this is really common, right? I feel like one of the promises that people mistakenly think that paganism offers, or polytheism in general offers, is that while Christianity has a God that doesn't answer you and doesn't speak to you, when you go to a polytheistic tradition and you start worshiping in a polytheistic way, then the gods are going to answer you, that they're more real, they're more present, they're more willing to interact with the world. They're not. That's not the way this works. I feel like this, obviously it's a very common misconception. The street was so quiet. It snowed today. It snowed a bunch today. The street was so quiet for like hours, and now it stopped snowing, and now there's like cars on the street again. All right, let's unpack this because I feel like there's a couple things going on. First is, I don't resent Christians. Okay, and we're going to get to a comment here, and we're going to talk about that. The second is, I'm scared of being associated with white supremacists. And the third is, being pagan means the gods are going to answer me. So let's start with the last one, right? The gods are going to answer me. No. Most people never have the experience that a god, directly interacts with them. And that's because they exist on a different plane than we do. They don't exist in our physical world. There are some people that have had experiences where gods or spirits or ancestors have directly interacted with them. This is not verifiable. It can't be proven. I don't doubt it. I don't not doubt it. It's not for me to have a stake in. But it is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely inappropriate that anybody offer this as a promise of pagan worship. It's not, and I could wax philosophical for a long time about how what we're doing here is not expecting something in return. It doesn't matter what God you worship. It doesn't matter if you worship Yahweh or any other God. Okay, what we're doing here, we are not expecting something in return for our worship. We are here to surrender ourselves to the gods. If they choose to answer us, then that is on them. And that's 100% great. Take it if it comes. But we're not sitting here going, give me a sign or I'm not going to believe in you. It's well, then they don't give a shit. So just leave it alone. This second, I'm scared of being associated with white supremacists. Then why would you be Christian? my answer, like the image of Christianity in America. I don't even want to say Christianity because I don't believe that it really is like actually Christianity. It's the cult of Jehovah, and that has many different expressions. And most Jehovahans are not Christian. They don't actually care about Jesus or what Jesus said. They don't know what Jesus said. They have no idea what his message was. And they don't know that he's not a deity. That originally, that's not, that like some people decided at the Council of Nicaea that he was going to be divine, but he didn't really seem to think that he was divine. And this is amply supported by linguistic evidence. So I don't know, fight me. But these Jehovahans, like the modern image of the cult of Jehovah in the US right now is that they're white supremacists. Like, have you met fundamentalists? They think white people are better than you. So I don't know, like, if you're scared of being associated with white supremacists for being pagan, then like, why would you be Christian? You might as well just be atheist. This should not be, what am I trying to say? This should not be a reason that you decide or that you decide for or against a certain faith or way of expressing your faith, right? Like this shouldn't be it. This shouldn't be what makes you make that decision. Okay, the first comment here. Here's a video on how to engage with Christians. It's not this. The person didn't ask on how to engage with Christians. What you're going through, we call deconstruction. Like, no, you might, we don't. Because you're dismantling the Christian indoctrination you grew up with. So this person clearly says, I don't have any religious trauma. I don't have any resentment towards Christians. So yes, sometimes when you leave the cult of Jehovah or a specific cult of Jehovah, you are leaving a harmful group of human beings, of people. This is what you're deconstructing. You're not deconstructing the religion. Yahweh is real, everybody. Yahweh is a God. He's a real God. He's out there. He exists on the God plane along with all the rest of our other gods. Whether or not you worship him is up to you, okay? It's not our job to like dismantle the Christian indoctrination that we grew up with. Like, that's just our culture. Like, I'm not sure it can be dismantled. What you can deconstruct, what you can dismantle, what you can unlearn is the harmful ideas taught to you by certain groups of people, certain cults that worship Yahweh. Let's read through some other comments here. I think we all have the fear of being associated with those pagan. I don't. If you think I'm a racist for what I believe, then that's because you're an asshole that won't take the time to actually ask me about it, and you don't deserve an ounce of my thoughts. So there's that. Ocean Celt. Okay, I'm not going to talk about Ocean Keltway. Why he doesn't like to use the term Osathru to refer to himself. Okay. Great. Let's find a good comment. Hello, I grew up Christian, and though I do have some trauma, I know it is associated with the people and not the faith in Christ. Thank you. I was pretty torn at first too. I knew I didn't want to go back to church, and I wanted to explore this path, and that I felt calling to me, at least that I was very interested in. I am always worried about being associated with white supremacists since I live in a very interesting part of the Bible Belt and even work in a prison. Some of my coworkers and the inmate population only associate heathenry or Norse paganism with Odinists, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, so I have to walk a thin line when it comes to my spiritual path. I tend to be very guarded with who I talk to about it, and I opt for online communities over local. I don't know if that's the best answer, honestly, though. You should not be afraid of connecting with people. Like, okay, there's this obsessive fear of Nazis. They don't want to interact in inclusive spaces. They don't. They have their own groups. It's not hard to find folkish groups that want you to be white. Okay? In any religion in this country, not just ours. They don't want to play with us. We should not be afraid to interact with these kinds of people because we will show them, we give them power over us when we have that fear, when we let that fear guide our decisions. We give them the power that they want to have. We justify their way of being and their worldview. You can't let them run your life. You can't let them stop you from going out and finding community. I didn't let that stop me. And guess what? I have never went, and I live in a conservative area, everybody. Okay, I live in a super conservative, super like Trump and gun country. All right. I have never encountered anybody who thinks this way. Not once. And I'm looking. So, I don't know. Do with that what you will. Let's go to the next post. I may quit Osatru. Cool. Go for it. I wanted to voice my feelings to perhaps get some feedback on my desire to possibly quit practicing Osatru. I am an American who lacks near any and all Norse descent. And after years of practicing my beliefs, more and more it comes to my attention that what I am doing could be considered an extreme act of cultural appropriation. All right, this is just baity. Is this bait? I say this in part due to reading many articles on the danger of improper practice of Osatru and the apparent distaste among a number of Icelandic practitioners of Osatru, otherwise known as Osatruar, if you really want to go there, for Americans who attempt to practice. What are your thoughts? Well, what are my thoughts on this? Fuck them. Fuck them. That's my thought. Need I say more? They don't own you. They don't run your life. Who cares what some people on some silly island think of what you're doing? If you're watching this video and you're from Iceland, your island is silly. I love you. I want to visit your island, but still, like, let's just get over it, okay? This one is disappointing. I don't really know what to say to this person other than, obviously, like, if you feel called to connect with the divine through the cultural lens of the Germanic people, and I've learned I need to explain what I mean. Germanic does not equal Germany. The modern nation of Germany has existed for like less than 200 years. Okay? Germanic people are all the people of Scandinavia, the Anglo-Saxons, all the continental Germanic people, like the people that live in the Netherlands and Belgium and Switzerland and Austria and Germany and some parts of Poland and the Czech Republic, and all peoples descended from the Germanic tribes. Those are Germanic people, all of them. Okay, all of them, not just the ones that are in the modern state of Germany. Okay, so when we say Germanic, that includes all the Scandinavian people as well. Okay? If you feel called to express your faith through the cultural lens of the Germanic people, I, as a Germanic person, heartily welcome you to do so. There's no bar to this. I want to share my culture with everyone who wants to know about it. Okay, but this leads me to two important points. Number one, I do not speak for all Germanic people. I am one individual, and although I may be saying this, there might be other people out there who do not feel the same way. There might be other people out there who think, and I don't agree with them. I'm not defending them. I don't agree with this idea, but there are other Germanic people out there who feel like, actually, no, This is our culture. This is a religion that was taken away from us, a way of connecting with the divine that was taken away from us. And I think it should be for us to reconnect with first, before welcoming other people into it. I do not agree with this mindset, but I'm one person. Other people may disagree with me on this. Does that mean that actually you're not welcome? No. Are there some Icelandic people who have an apparent distaste towards Americans practicing what they see as their religion? Yeah. Does that mean that you can't do it? No. You should just go for it. If that's what makes you happy, go for it. Fuck them. They don't own you. They don't get to tell you what to do. Notice my very careful wording here. Connecting with the divine through the cultural lens of the Germanic people. Okay? I don't believe that there are lines and boundaries and dividers between the deities that humans worship. I don't know. I can't say if they really are separate or the same, or like I don't really bother with the question of whether or not like Woden and Mercury are actually the same god, or like they're different, or what. I don't care. When I come to the table, I bring my honor and my piety to the divine as I interpret it, as I experience it. And that just so happens to be mostly, not all the way, mostly through a Germanic cultural lens. There are some images of the divine that are traditionally Mesopotamian, right? Akkadian and Babylonian, that I feel particularly connected to for various reasons. And I connect with the divine, with the gods in that, through that cultural lens in a really significant way. And yes, I was raised in a cult of Jehovah that had, in a cult of Christ, really, I would say. Like the Mennonites they're not just a cult of Jehovah, they're a cult of Christ, right? Followers of Jesus' actual message. Mostly, a lot of them aren't, but whatever. Well, that's a whole other video. We're going to do a whole other video on that, okay? We're not going to talk about that right now. I'm a huge fan of Jesus' message. I think that if we really listened to it and took it to heart and lived by it, the world would be a better place. And so in that sense, I'm kind of Christian. And in the same way that, like, I don't know, Socrates had some really cool stuff to say that Plato made up. But well, that's a good way to start an internet argument there, huh? Let's find another post. Ooh. This is from our pagan. Altar in the bedroom, NSFW. I swear I'm not trying to joke or be funny here. So this guy has his altar in his bedroom, the only place he has privacy. That's the exact problem. Self-love and romantic love both happen in the bedroom. One of the deities he worships is Athena. Hermes and Aphrodite are the other two. His troubles are with the owl-eyed daughter of Zeus. That's Athena, for those of you who don't, know the Hellenic thing. She is virgin and pure. Could we not? Can we not? Can we not? Can you not? Can we not? Okay. We all remember what happened to Medusa. Okay, whatever. I don't care. That's myths. Let's talk about myths, everybody. My idea was for him to take away her elements from the altar when those things were to happen. Those things being the love, the self-love, and the romantic love. But I wanted a few more opinions. What do you think? And then there's some edit. Obviously, Reddit people are being assholes. What else are they going to do? They can't help themselves. That's what they were born. That's how they were born. Okay. So here in the first comment, the Medusa thing happens only in the Roman poet Ovid's retelling of the myth. Older versions have her and her sisters be daughters of Ceto and Phorcys. Excuse me. Okay. So let's talk about this. First, this person has an opinion that when their friend, their presumably male friend, wants to do things to himself or other people in his bedroom where his altar is that has the Virgin Athena on the altar, he should remove her from the altar before doing the things. Why is my response? Why? Why would that need to happen? Does this person think that like Athena lives in the doll? That like Athena actually like lives inside the little wooden figure? 'Cause that's not how that works. Like, just leave her there. Like, just, she's in her altar. She's just chilling. It's a piece of wood. So just leave it there. I don't know. I don't know why this feels so weird to me. Okay. So here's the thing about myths. They're poems. They're more about humans than they are about the gods. They're stories written by humans about humans that feature the gods as characters in the stories. The gods are used as representations of the humans in the stories. They are not supposed to be like actual... Okay. The gods don't have physical bodies. They exist on a different plane of reality. They do not exist in this physical plane. They didn't experience the stories that we have written about them, like in a literal way. So I would really like us to kind of move beyond that and just let the gods be. Like, just leave them alone. Leave them alone. Stop trying to pigeonhole them into things that make sense to your human mind. Our human minds are part of our human bodies that exist in this physical plane of reality that we occupy, that has matter and energy and little atoms with their little subatomic particles and their little quarks and the little strings that go bloom. And I think we decided string theory is bullshit, right? Did we decide that? I don't know. Someone comment below and tell me what you think about this. So I guess, yeah, well, like, let's wrap it up here, right? So when we try to make sense of it all, when we try to understand the God plane, we're like doing a disservice to the gods. Like, part of the awe that I feel, part of the total flabbergastedness that I get when I think about the divine, is that it's just so incomprehensible to me, and like so something that I could not believe in until I felt it just slightly brush up against me. And it's like if it's like swimming in the depths of the sea, in the dark, deep down, and your tiny little human self is just swimming. You're like, you can't see anything. You're swimming in this dark ocean. And this massive, like, you reach out and you can just barely with your fingertips, just barely like brush up against this like massive Leviathan beast. Like, that's what it was like. Like, that's what it's like to me. That's what leaves me so breathtaking, breathless when I think about the divine. And thinking we can pigeonhole them into these like cutesy little stories that people wrote down thousands of years ago. Like, it's stupid. That's dumb. Let gods be gods. Leave them alone. They don't need our help. They know who they are. It's our job to ask them to show us who they are. Not to read some stories and then decide that we know who they are now. That's not how that works. It's our job to ask the leviathans we brush up against with our fingertips in the depths of the ocean to reveal themselves to us. And they may or may not choose to do so. And if they do, it might be a wild fucking ride. We will talk about this in another video, but people that go to the God plane, which is, I think, a thing some people have done and can do. Not something I would ever want to do. Go nuts. They go nuts. Their humanness can't take it. It's too much. And I think they lose touch of reality. They lose a bit of their connection to this physical plane. Maybe part of their ghost goes lost. So, yeah. Leave the doll on the altar. She doesn't care. I guarantee you she doesn't care. So, good questions. Those were 3 pretty good questions. Let me know what you think about my hot takes down in the comments. I'd like to do more of this kind of stuff. Let me know if you liked it. And like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. Like I said, Red City Blues, we'll talk a lot about spirituality. But generally we just talk about what I feel like talking about that day, which a lot of it is religion. So don't worry, there will be a lot of religion. There might be some languages. There might be some knitting and crocheting and sewing and things. We're gonna spitball. We're gonna throw some spitballs and see what sticks. And hopefully you'll stick around just because you think I'm so cool. So anyway, this has been your latest installment of Reddit questions with Red City Blues. I'm Donnie, and have a good night. Bye-bye.